2018, the third test match between Australia and South Africa in Newland. The day when there was a huge outrage against Australian players. The day when Australian Prime Minister publicly announced Australian team has cheated the country. The day when people across the world condemned and grieved Australian players. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, the reason behind this was ball tampering issue. It was clearly shown in TV footage that one of the Australian pace bowler named Bancroft picked up a yellow object out of his pocket and appearing to rub it on ball to get great swing while bowling. It was later known that the decision to cheat was made with the help of two senior players, David Warner and Steve Smith. The decision came from the Australian Cricket Board that these two major players has to come up in press conference and apologize publicly. The two major players came up in press conference and apologized and begged as it was hard to pray. The next decision came from the board that these two major players has got suspended for 1 whole year when they were at the peak of their career. But they accepted it. After a long gap of 1 year, they got returned to cricket. They thought the crowd would cheer up for them. They thought the crowd would applaud them. They thought the crowd would accept them, and they thought the crowd would be with them. But guess what was the reaction of the crowd? Crowd was literally booing at them, was unanimously, raucously yelling all together, cheater, 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 when they got into the crowd. This wasn't expected by them. Imagine, inside his helmet, his eyes should have been filled with tears. His heart should have been broken. He would have just thought of giving up. But these two players just didn't give up. Remember in last World Cup, the highest run score was in the name of Rohit Sharma. Guess who is the second highest run score? It was David Warner. Even though the crowd wasn't cheering up for him, he was literally competing for the highest run score against Rohit Sharma. Now coming to Steve Smith. The whole world was against him. It was a huge task for him because he was the captain when he got suspended. But he returned back and hit 2 times double century, which is a huge hope, which is a huge dream even for the major big players. If you Google the list of rank holders, the number 1 rank holder in Test cricket is in the name of Steve Smith. That booing of the crowd made him more stronger than ever. That booing of the crowd made him more determined than ever. That booing of the crowd made him to score tens of runs after he returned back to the cricket. He is the real goosebumps for all the cricket fans as well as music's inspirations. When the media asked what were you doing for this long 1 year, he replied, practice, practice, practice. Practice makes man perfect. Fellow Toastmasters, at a certain point of time, we might do things which are not correct. That can happen because we are not very different from one another. But what is most important is correct it and come back. And remember, when we come back, the world will show her dark face. Will pull you back as much as it can. You will find your days as a museum of disappointment. You will find yourself asking, why is this happening only to me? You will find problems and obstacles coming back to back. At the end, you may think of giving up. Now, you have 2 paths ahead of you. One, to give up from all the problems and obstacles and never accomplish your dream that you done for years. 2, to keep learning from all the problems and hit your target of accomplishment that you dreamt for years. Truth to be told, every champion has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. Every billionaire has felt it. Every scientist and sports person, president, kings, everyone has felt it. The urge to give up. But the thing which distinguishes them from common people is they just didn't give up. Fellow Toastmasters, when we are a kid, we might have done things which are not right. It can happen. Things are not very different when we grow up. We might have done things which we shouldn't do. We might have done things which we shouldn't do. That can happen, but correct it and come back. No matter what the world tells about it, no matter what all the challenges you will face when you are correcting it, but what really matters is whether you have the heart to accept it, courage to admit it, and guts to correct it. Let me conclude my speech by having a beautiful quote. It is not a mistake to do a mistake. Instead, it is a mistake to keep repeating the mistake. Thank you.